my thoughts. I shut it down wherever power is stored. Being real is in the past, watching cowards get on. It ain't kill me, so it's making me stronger. And these bite-sized rappers now sensing my hunger.
What the hell is going on, people? This is Periodic, and you see the title of the video. We are jumping back into Dragonball Z Dokkan Battle in order to do a tier list that we've never done before. It is for free-to-play LRs. Every single free-to-play LR on the global side of the game. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit, okay? I'm cheating just a little bit, and you're going to understand why. The reason why I'm cheating is because the Babidi and Dabura, at the time of this recording, which is in the beginning of December, are not in the game, okay? Are not in the global side of the game. Let me just put it like that. And they haven't been announced or anything. I'm not sure what they're waiting for. It could be like the Christmas Ultimate Clash or whatever the case is to introduce them into the game, but they're just not here yet. The Super Saiyan Goku, the Prime Battle Tech LR, has been announced to get his Extreme Z Awakening. And so the cheating that I'm doing is I will not be ranking Dabura and Babidi. As you can see, they're down here in the Japan only list alongside of Goku and Gohan. And I will be ranking the LR Prime Battle Goku based off of his Extreme Z Awakening. Because for the month of December, it is confirmed, December 24th, you will be able to Extreme Z Awaken him. So he should be rated based off his upcoming stats, not what he currently has, okay? Because, again, confirmed month of December, he will have those stats. Whereas at the time of this recording, we are still not sure if Babidi or Dabura will come out this month. They could be announced later tonight. They could be announced tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. But at the time of this recording, they have not been announced. So, in case you have any questions why Babidi and Dabura are not here, and you're watching it later in December, that's why. In case you're wondering why I'm doing the EZA stats for LR Prime Goku, that's why, okay? Number two, this is my opinion only. I did not consult anybody for this. This is just coming off the top of my head as I compare characters to each other. You can disagree. You most likely will. That is completely fine. Let me know in the comments down below. Any comment that just says this list is dumb is not worth my time, okay? That's number two. And number three, if you've gotten this far and you haven't subscribed to the channel, goodness gracious, good God almighty, what are you doing with your life? Go ahead and gently rub that sub button. For goodness sake, get more of this beautiful Dragon Ball Z content and other games in the future. All right, without further ado, let's get into the list. As you can see, you have all of the Dokkan Fest and Legendary Banner LRs down here. That has its own tier list. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out. The month of November is out. The month of December will come out later this month. So, starting at number one, at the bottom tier, the King Yemma tier. This is the bottom tier here. LR Intelligence Piccolo. LR Intelligence Piccolo. Now, why is this particular Piccolo at the bottom? It's simple. He doesn't do much, okay? His super attack has 0 effect. It's just colossal damage on his 12 key and mega colossal damage on his 18 key. And then his passive skill is kind of dumb. 10,000 defense, gives allies 5,000 defense. And not only that, his links suck. He's got Gaze of Respect, which barely anybody has. Brainiacs, which is very all over the place. Experienced Fighters, which is more of like Bardock and you know, characters like that. And then again, First Awakened, which is more of a Bardock Goku link, right? So it's like Bardock and Goku are not going to have Prodigies or Brainiacs or Gaze of Respect. You know what I mean? So like his links are just, they make no sense. They're just kind of half and half. And it makes sense because this guy came out March 2017 on Global, all right? December 2016 on JP. So it's been a while. And then last but not least, his name is just Piccolo. So you would not run this guy with, I mean, there's like 5 other Piccolos that are better than this guy at this point, all right? So he's holding down the bottom tier in the King Yemma tier. Now let's move up, and there's actually going to be a few characters in here who, in the King Kai tier, that you may disagree and say some are better than others, and I could actually agree with you, but I'm going to have them all here for different reasons. So first off, we're going to start off with the LR androids, okay? And so you're going to think, okay, it makes sense. The LR androids, one step above the Piccolo because they're essentially the Piccolo just opposite, right? They do attack instead of defense. They're doing 15,000 attack when they do a super attack. The difference is on their 18 key, they also lower attack and defense, which is good. And their links are great for androids. Infinite Energy at level 10 gives them 5% crit, 5% attack and defense, and 2 key. The Innocence, 15% attack. Twin Terror, 2 key, 5% dodge, 5% attack and defense. Nightmare, 15% attack. Fear and Faith, 2 key, and then they debuff enemies' defense by 10%. Shocking Speed, 5% defense and 2 key. And then, of course, Legendary Power, you get 15% attack when doing a super attack. So they can actually do pretty darn good damage. And, I mean, they're not getting, like, insane amounts of defense, but at least they're getting some defense there, right? It's like, what, 15% defense? That's not good. But they have a semblance of it. And they debuff. So their links are fantastic because it allows them to do a lot of damage. And again, they're going to link very, very well with almost every single android in the game. And so that's why they're definitely a tier above King Kai. And when you say, okay, I mean, that's not really a reward. Well, I would say the other people in this category are, will bump it up a little bit more. Other people in this rating. And so the next person in this rating I would have is the LR Strength Frieza, who is right here. I couldn't find his Chrome Dome head. This Frieza still, even without his Extreme Z Awakening, and again, this is without his Extreme Z Awakening. I got to make that very, very clear. This guy is still decent. 13,000 attack, 5,000 defense. Again, very similar to the androids. He debuffs on his 18 key, lowers attack and defense. And as I said with the androids, his links are very good. Strongest clan in space. 10% minus defense for enemies, 2 key. Universe's most malevolent, 20% attack. Metamorphosis, 5% HP back, 10% attack and defense. Thirst for Conquest, 15% attack and defense. Big Bad Bosses, one of the best links in the game, just a flat 25% attack and defense. Fear and Faith, again, another 10% minus defense for the enemy, 2 key. And then that Legendary Power. So the links are very good. The categories are very good. A ton of different categories. And then when this guy gets his Extreme Z Awakening, he's legitimately one of the best free-to-play LRs in the game. But at the moment, he's going to be in the King Kai tier. Like, essentially, this Frieza goes from the King Kai tier here to when he gets his EZA to the Zeno tier. It's actually insane. But for now, we're going to leave him in that King Kai tier because I think he's still pretty solid. And another unit who I think is still pretty solid, but limited, is this LR Ginyu Force. Now, I would say that in terms of a unit, he's not really good by himself, if that makes sense. Like, you can't really rock this guy just on his own. But for Ultimate Clash and some other events, he ain't bad as a support unit. Because, in case you don't know what he does, on his 18 key, he gives all allies 30% defense, which is pretty solid, actually. And on top of that, his passive skill is giving 3 key and 7,777 attack for allies. Now, the attack bonus, not that important. The passive for the 3 key, that is very important because that's such a great skill to have, giving 3 key as opposed to 2 key. You're going to allow people, especially other LRs, to be able to gain that 18 key much easier. His links are pretty bad, not going to lie. Shocking Speed and Legendary Power are really the only 2 good ones. He's got ones like Signature Pose, Loyalty, Respect, the Ginyu Force. Really only links you're going to use with the other members of the Ginyu Force. With that said, the Ginyu Force is actually an insane link. 25% attack and 5% crit. That is wild to me. So if you have him on his own Ginyu Force team, he's very, very strong. If you just have him as like a random character on the squad, then, he's a little less so. But even with that, even acknowledging that, he's still a good support character. And hence why he's in the King Kai tier. Next up, is the other Ginyu Force character, LR Goku Ginyu, going into the Grand Kai tier. Now, there is a clear difference between the physical LR Ginyu and the tech LR Goku Ginyu. And the reason, or that difference is the passive skill is much better on this LR Goku Ginyu. He's giving extreme category allies 20% attack and defense, but he's also giving any extreme ally 30% attack and defense, meaning Ginyu Force characters get a 50% attack and defense increase, whereas extreme allies get 30% attack and defense. And that's not all. This dude greatly raises his attack on his 12 key, so he's going to be able to hit okay. And then he actually raises extreme class allies attack by 30% on his 18 key. So that makes it so he's a pretty fantastic extreme support for free-to-play. Again, his links are just, Ginyu Force type links, Ginyu Force, signature pose, gentleman, respect, loyalty, more than meets the eye, like super random links, right? His links are actually pretty terrible, but his passive and his super attack make it so he deserves to be in the Grand Kai tier. Alongside of him, in the Grand Kai tier is a unit that is used a lot, but is very, 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 what's the word? Situational, I guess. And it's going to be LRB Pan. LRB Pan, another great support unit here. She recovers 33% damage dealt as HP. So that means that if you do, 1,000 damage, you're going to get 333 of it back as health. If you do 10,000 damage, you're going to get 3,033, you know what I mean? Et cetera, et cetera. 100,000 damage, you're going to get 33,000 health back, et cetera, et cetera. She's got a 50% chance to reduce damage by 55%. So that's not bad. And then her 12 key has a 10% chance to stun. And then is it 10% or 20%? She's got a 25% chance to stun. Okay, that's not bad. And then her 18 key has a 30% chance to stun for 2 turns. So it's actually better than I thought. But let's be honest, no one really cares about all that. Her active skill is what's important. You wait 3 turns, and then she gives all allies 33% attack. So again, she's very situational. She sometimes can tank, sometimes she can't. Sometimes she can stun, sometimes she can't. Most of the time she's a glass cannon. Her links are, Battlefield Diva, GT. Like, she's got kind of good links, but they're kind of random. Innocence, Shattering the Limit type of stuff, right? Saiyan lineage. So you are going to be able to pair like 2 or 3 links at max with most characters. There's not a lot that are going to have that wide gamut of links there. And, she's just a one-turn nuker. She herself isn't it, but she gives that character that you're bringing along that you want to see do a lot of damage the capability to do so, especially because you're going to be linking legendary power, maybe Shattering the Limit, maybe not. Maybe Saiyan lineage, maybe not. Maybe Innocence or GT, etc., etc. Moving along to our next member in the Grand Kai tier, we're going to go ahead and throw Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 on here. So their big thing is that they get hit really hard, okay? They get hit very, very hard, which is a little unfortunate, but everything else they do is very good. So their 12 key, they seal super attack. Their 18 key, they're raising superclass allies attack by 30% for 2 turns, which is great. Their passive skill is very unique because it gives 4 key. There's not a lot of units that give 4 key, not a lot of support units at least. I can think of Bra, aka Bulla, and that's about it, right? So they're given 4 key, 50% defense, and then they actually lower extreme class enemies' defense by 70%. So that's like greatly lowering or massively lowering their defense. It's very close to it, right? 70% is quite a bit. The unfortunate thing is their links, Hero of Justice, Patrol, Signature Pose, like garbage. Even Supreme Power and Infighter are kind of hard to find. And then they have Legendary Power and Shattering the Limit, which would be more commonplace. But besides that, they have their they have their weaknesses, but their support is very, very good, especially for key. Their key is the amount of key that they give is insane. And then once they super attack, if they can 18 key, they'll give that nice attack buff. And then if they could do an additional, I mean, that's just that's a very, very good You know, they're a very good first slot unit as long as they're not getting hit a lot in that slot. That's the whole thing. You want to be able to protect them because they can't take a hit to save their life. So let's keep it pushing, and the next one on the list is actually going to be this LRAGL Future Trunks. And some of you may rate him higher, but I am going to put him at this spot because, again, talk about being limited. 25,000 attack at the start of turn. If he's facing 2 or more enemies, he gives himself 20,000 defense, an additional 20,000 attack, and 8 ki. So that's very, very good. But you have to be facing 2 or more enemies. And there's, I mean, a lot of difficult events, or Dokkan events for that matter, where you're only going to be facing 1 enemy. So he's going to be stuck at that 25,000 attack. And his super attack doesn't really help. 12 ki does nothing. 18 ki greatly raises his attack. So again, no defense. Now, you can look to some of his links for defense, which are good. Shattering Limit, you know, Legendary Power. Dismal Future, giving him 5 crit, 2 ki, which is great. Royal Lineage, giving him additional attack. Cold Judgment is really what I'm talking about here. 25% defense there. And then that's about it. So if he's facing 1 enemy and he's got Cold Judgment active, he'll have a decent amount of defense there. Shadow Limit as well, right? He'll be at 30% defense. And if Royal Lineage is kicked in, 35. That's not great, but at least it's something. It's really when he's facing 2 or more enemies that he does a lot of damage, and you know, can actually tank somewhat there. It's not going to be anything impressive, but you know, that's why I'm not putting him any higher, and I don't think he deserves to be any higher. I think he does deserve to be right here in the Grand Kai tier because of those limitations. And at the moment, that is why this LR, Tien, and Chaozu is in the Grand Kai tier, because they're kind of in the same category here with, you know, again, limitations. That's why a lot of these units are where they are. It's because of limitations. So this guy, if you get 8 ki or more, 10,000 attack. It's not bad. If you grab 11 ki, then 10,000 defense. So if you're pretty much doing a super attack, a 12 ki super attack, then you're going to be at 10,000 attack, 10,000 defense. That's going to be most of the time, almost always, right? If you are able to do 14 ki or more, then you're going to gain an additional 10,000 attack and defense. So that's not bad, right? That's not bad at all. They're going to be A-okay there. They're going to be at, what, 30,000 attack and 20,000 defense? Yeah, you know, not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Their 12 ki has a 20% chance to stun. Yeah, 20% chance to stun. 18 ki has a 25% chance to stun. Links are terrible, unless if you're bringing like Dragon Ball Saga units, Z Fighters, Crane School, Dodon Ray, Telepathy, Shocking Speed, Shadow Limit, and Legendary Power. Those first four links are pretty awful, to be honest. But again, their passive is going to be able to kick in the majority of the time. That's why I have them here, because overall, they're actually going to have better defense consistently over this Trunks, over this Great Saiyaman 1 and 2, over this Goku Ginyu, and over this LRB Pan. Consistently, they're going to have it, because again, she's a 50%, she's a coin flip whether she's going to get that damage reduction. He's only doing 50%. He's only doing 50%, and he's doing only, you know, he's only doing 25% if he's got Cold Judgment linked, and then 20,000 defense if he's facing 2 or more. So at least with this dude, you're pretty much always going to have 11 ki, and so he's going to have a semblance of defense at all points in time, and so that's why he's on here. All right, let's move up to the Supreme Kai tier, and we are going to start off with this 1000-day Goku. Again, this is pre-Extreme Z Awakening. This is not taking into account the Extreme Z Awakening. That will come maybe this year, maybe next year. He's really solid at the moment. 77% attack. And then for every orb he gets, you recover 7,777 HP, and you gain 7% attack and defense. So again, he's not going to have the best defense in the world, but at least he's going to have some semblance of it. His links are not bad. They're okay. Z Fighters all in the family. Going to be hard to find. experienced fighters and supreme power, again, going to be hard to find. But prepare for battle, Saiyan lineage, legendary power, not too hard to activate there. And then his super attacks are good. 12 key raises allies attack by 20%. That's fantastic because he's buffing his team just on his 12 key, and on his 18 key, he's raising their attack and defense by 25%, which is huge. Like, that's actually really, really good. And so that's why he's on the Supreme Kai tier. Now, if he did more for himself, like if he gave himself like 14% attack and defense per orb, then I'd put him higher. Obviously, when he gets his Extreme Z Awakening, he becomes very, very good. And he may even go into the Zeno tier, or at least the Grand Priest tier. But for now, we're going to keep him in the Supreme Kai tier. I think he does deserve to be there because of what he does, at the moment. Another character that I do think deserves to be there, and I tell people all the time, like, guys, if you're new to the game, if you are struggling with events, the one character that you have to grind out that is so easy to do is LR Bardock. LR Bardock is who you have to grind out because his team is pretty solid and his team is going to be able to clear every Dokkan Fest in the game, especially with that new Grand Priest event where you can get specific skill orbs and really kit these guys out to be insanely strong, right? Even then, he's a superclass ally, attack and defense 30%. And then Team Bardock allies gain an additional 30% attack and defense. So they're at 60% attack and defense. His 12 key, he's greatly raising his attack. And then his 18 key, again, you know how I love super attacks buffing other characters. His 18 key increases superclass allies attack by 30%. So his team just fits really good together. They're a better version of the Ginyu Force. So if you're going to grind one of them, I suggest grinding this one because they're pretty solid. They came out earlier this year. And yeah, he's a 120% Team Bardock lead. So that's kind of all you need to be able to clear the majority of Dokkan events. Big fan of that Bardock, for sure. I'm also a big fan of this Super Battle Road Goku. He's very good, especially for Ultimate Clash and events like that. I mean, this guy gives Superclass allies 2 key, 30% attack and defense. He's got a 25% chance to dodge. And if you drop below 50% HP, you gain an additional 20% attack and defense for Superclass allies. So that's not bad. Now, I very much enjoy his super attack. 12 key, 20% chance to stun, 18 key, superclass allies, 30% attack. Again, what did I say about enjoying these, passives or super attacks that buff other characters? It makes them very strong. It makes them hit very hard. So I'm a big fan of that. And again, his links are very similar to the 1000 Day Goku with All in the Family, Z Fighters, Warrior Race, Saiyan Lineage, Experienced Fighters. Courage is a dead link, but Legendary Power, obviously a good one as well. So, unfortunately, he's only on 2 categories, Pure Saiyans and Goku's Family. I don't know why they couldn't just think up 15 other categories that he could have been on, because he easily could have been on them. But I mean, it is what it is, right? Honestly, I don't even know what they were thinking there, putting him only on 2 categories. Next up on this Supreme Kai tier, we are actually throwing this Intelligence Vegeta, and yes, I do think that he is a much better version of the AGL Trunks, simply because he just always has his passive, right? 15,000 attack, 20,000 defense, that's already better. And then if he gets hit, if he gets touched, he gives himself an additional 15,000 attack, and he launches 2 additional attacks for 4 turns. So very similar to the Tech Beers, where he gets hit, he gains a buff and stuff like that for a bunch of turns. He's the same exact way. Now, his 12 key sucks because it just does colossal damage, but his 18 key greatly raises his attack, so he can actually do a lot of damage. And if you put the crit into this guy, whoo, he's going to be doing quite a bit. So his links are not bad either. Golden Warrior, Super Saiyan, Prodigies, Saiyan Pride, Royal Lineage, Shattering Limit, and Legendary Power. Very, very Vegeta-esque links. And so he'll be able to, pair up with a lot of different Vegetas and do a very good job. But for a free-to-play, he actually can pump out a decent amount of damage. And again, he links up very well. So I'm a big fan of this Vegeta. Also, him turning Super Saiyan for the first time, definitely awesome. Next up, a character who's definitely awesome, but people be sleeping on the boy. and I'm already sick of it. Yamcha and Puar. Hell yeah. Our first joint forces category lead over on Global. This dude's actually really slept on. If he's on a Dragon Ball Saga team or Dragon Ball Seekers or anything like that, he's actually really good. So when he super attacks, 20,000 attack and defense. And then when he does an ultra attack, an additional 10,000 attack and defense. So that's 30,000 attack and defense. You just have to make sure he doesn't get hit first. And the dumb thing is if he's facing a Peppy Gals category lead, he'll be stunned. But, I mean, whatever. It's super troll. His 12 key lowers defense. His 18 key massively lowers defense. That's 80% defense reduction for 3 turns. So once you start getting up to those numbers, 20% doesn't really mean anything when lowering someone's defense. But 80%, that's where it actually starts. You start seeing some effect to it, right? His links are kind of wonky, but again, for Dragon Ball Saga characters, Dragon Ball Seekers, it's actually good. In Fighter, he's going to share it with some people. 50% attack, an additional 15% defense reduction for the enemy. Solid Support, a 15% attack, an additional 20% defense reduction for the enemy. Speed of Retribution, no one's really going to have. Incredible Adventure is fantastic. 3 keys, 7% attack and defense. Guidance of the Dragon Balls, unbelievable. 20% attack, 7% crit. Like, holy cow. Shattering Limit, 2 key, attack and defense 5%. Wild. And then Legendary Power, that 15% attack when you're supering. So he's actually going to be able to pump out decent amount of damage, be somewhat tanky, and then have crit and like all this stuff. So, and he's debuffing the enemy's defense. So he's actually really good and definitely deserves to be in the Supreme Kai tier. So anybody trying to sleep on the boy Yamcha, I mean, they need to wake the hell up. He's fairly solid in my opinion. So I mean, just chill with the Yamcha hate, for God's sakes. Now, one person that doesn't get a lot of hate, he actually gets a lot of praise, and I'm not as high on this dude as some others are, but I will say he deserves to be on the God of Destruction tier, and that is LR Uberino. LR Ub. I'm going to put on the God of Destruction tier. Some people might even throw him in the Zeno tier. I definitely don't think he goes there. And if you want to argue with me in the comments, please do so. He's very good, though. Don't get me wrong. 12 key, lowers attack. 18 key does the same thing. Unfortunately, he's not lowering attack by a lot. It's only 20% for 3 turns, but it's still something, right? And he's kind of wonky with how he works, right? So the more HP he has, the more stats he's going to have. So he gives himself 6 key, 90% attack and defense. He's going to slowly lose that as he loses HP. So every 20% that he loses, he's going to lose 1 key and 20% attack and defense. So as you start going less and less and less, he'll eventually go down to 1 key, 20% attack and defense, which is kind of funky. Now, if you drop below 40% HP, he will transform into Majub, which I wish it was something a little bit different because it's kind of boring, right? Look at this, his outfit changes and stuff like that. But I mean, it is what it is. Super attack, 12 key, lowering attack. 18 key, greatly lowering attack. That's what we're talking about. That's what we like to see. It jumps up to 30%, attack reduction, which is very good. And he's going to recover your HP. Recovers 40% when he transforms, which is good. 100% attack and defense. And then he randomly changes spheres of a certain type to rainbow. So what that means is it will randomly pick a color, AGL, blue, red, purple, green, or orange, and it will change it to rainbow. And for every rainbow orb he gets, he gains 3 key. All right, he gains 3 key for every rainbow orb he gets. So he's going to be able to hit his 18 keys very, very easily. The problem with this Oob and a lot of transformation units that they sometimes will massively change their links. So this guy starts off with Infighter, Revival, Tough as Nails, Cold Judgment, Kamehameha, GT, and Legendary Power. And I'll say that again, if you drop below 40% HP, if that happens, he will gain Solid Support, Master of Magic, Majin, and Fuse Fighter, and retain Cold Judgment, GT, Legendary Power. So you effectively have to bring like 2 sets of characters to link with this guy. and they're not going to be able to link with each other. So it's just kind of unfortunate, if you ask me, and hence why I think he just belongs to be in the God of Destruction tier. All right, next is my boy Krillin going up to the God of Destruction tier. This guy is a must for free-to-play players in the World Tournament. His 12 key raises attack, does colossal damage to all enemies, and it also has a 25% chance of stunning them, or 30% chance, of stunning them, which is fantastic. And then his 18 key raises attack and defense. But honestly, if you're in the World Tournament, you never want to get his 18 key. His passive gives him 3 key and 30,000 defense. So if it's an ultra super attack, he's also giving himself an additional 20,000 attack. So now we're at 40,000 attack, okay? If he's only up against one enemy, he gives himself 3 key, which is good. But if he's facing 2 or more enemies, he's actually giving himself an additional 10,000 attack per enemy. So in the World Tournament, you're facing like 6 enemies, right? So that's 60,000 extra attack. And if it's an 18 key, which you don't want it to be, he's gaining extra attack. But even still, that's going to be what? 60,000 plus the 20,000, 80,000 attack. Not bad. And then if he's facing 6 enemies, he launches an additional super attack. So 2 12 keys, 2 attack all, 2 with a 30% chance to stun. That's fantastic. That's very good. His links are kind of wacky. You know, again, a lot of Dragon Ball Saga type links, even though this is from the Dragon Ball Z Saga, Z Fighters, Turtle School, Courage, high compatibility. I don't know what that's about. Solid support, Shadow Limit, and legendary power. So all in all, this Krillin, pretty darn good, particularly for the World Tournament. Just a fantastic unit to bring along for that event. And, you know, you can also use him in certain teams. Like, he's not completely useless in certain other teams. And another character who's definitely not useless on other teams is this LR Tech Cell, one of the coolest designs in the game, not gonna lie. He's awesome. Attack and defense 20,000. Gives himself 1 key every time he super attacks, up to 6. And if he's at 18 key or more, he gives himself an additional 20,000 attack, which is pretty solid. But the last thing that he does is very, very strong. If the target is in attack down status, he's going to crit. Guaranteed. Which is fantastic. His super attacks aren't bad either. His 12 key recovers 15% HP, which is what the LR Goku Black and Zamatsu's passive is. And then his 18 key lowers attack and defense, which is also good. His links for the most part are good, right? Shadow Limit, legendary bosses, big bad bosses, shocking speed, messenger from the future. Even attacking the clones is good with, you know, some of these cell units. Flea, not great. Actually pretty terrible. But everything else is good. He's an artificial life forms free-to-play leader, 100% across the board, which is solid as well. So I have a lot of love for that card. He's very, very, very good, and that's why he does indeed deserve to be in the God of Destruction tier. Who else deserves to be in the God of Destruction tier? Well, that's fairly easy. We gotta throw the Goku and Bulma in this God of Destruction tier, and it's very simple. The reason why they're not higher is because they're limited in who they have to have on their team to be at their strongest. The reason why they're up this high is because if you fulfill those requirements, they're very strong. Attack and defense 7% for every Dragon Ball Seeker character on the team, up to 35%. Attack and defense 7% per youth category ally on the team, up to 35%. Attack and defense 7% per Dragon Ball Saga category ally on the team, up to 35%. And then for every joint forces ally on their team, they gain 1 key up to 5. 12 key is 20% chance to stun, 18 key 30% chance to stun. Effectively, if they're able to get the best team for them, they're sitting at 5 key at 105% attack and defense. So pretty solid for a little free-to-play unit of Goku and Bulma. They're also the youth category lead, 120%, so ain't too bad. And again, their links are fairly good for Dragon Ball character, right? Incredible Adventure, Guidance of the Dragon Balls, Innocence, Courage, Prodigies, so solid support and legendary power. So pretty good for what they are. And another unit who's pretty good for what they are is the other Goku unit, the LR Goku and Raleigh. These dudes, the only way they gain defense is on their 18 key, which is a big minus. They greatly raise their defense on their 18 key, which is great. The good news is that they're almost always going to get their 18 key because of their passive. Now, their 12 key ain't bad either. They seal super attack, which is good. But their passive is just something else. Randomly changes a certain type. Again, as I explained before, it could be AGL, it could be tech, it could be intelligence, it could be strength, it could be physical. It randomly picks one set and randomly changes it to rainbow orbs. And they gain 30% attack and 2 key per rainbow orb. So that means that they're actually gaining 3 key. They also reduce damage by 30% if they're first attacker in the turn. So it's not defense, it is damage reduction. Typically, damage reduction counts more when you have high defense. So if they're able to do an 18 key, then the damage reduction counts for more, but they have to be the first attacker in the turn. You're not always going to be able to do that. Even with that said, they're very good, right? They do have like Penguin Village Adventure, which is absolute trash Link, but everything else is good for a Dragon Ball character. Innocence, Infighter, Incredible Adventure, Guidance to Dragon Ball, Shatter the Limit, and Legendary Power. So let's keep it pushing up to the Grand Priest tier. And we got to put the boy, LR Hercule, Extreme Z Awakened. This guy's pretty darn good. What can you say? 12 key has a 30% chance to stun. 18 key raises attack and defense by 50% for 3 turns. That's big. Passive skill, 70% chance to give himself 7 key and 77% attack. Gives himself 3 key and 77% defense for 3 turns. And he's got a 50% chance of dodging super attacks for 3 turns after he gets hit. He also lowers the enemy's attack by 22% for 3 turns. So he's kind of got little fail safes to make up for the fact that he's kind of weird. He only gives himself defense for the first 3 turns. But if he gets hit during the first 3 turns, he has a 50% chance to dodge for 3 turns. And if you're doing 18 keys, then he's semi-stacking his attack and defense, right? He's also debuffing the enemy by 22% for 3 full turns. So you can stack that a bit as well. So additionals are very, very good on this guy. So it's kind of like, you know, he's making up for some of his inconsistencies. His links are kind of bad. Hero, Soul vs. Soul, and Golden Z Fighters are terrible. Even Supreme Power, again, kind of wonky. Innocence, whatever. Shatter and Limit, Legendary Power. But it doesn't really matter because he gives himself 7 key, and he gives himself 3 key for those 3 turns, and he gives himself, you know, attack and defense 50% for 3 turns. So he doesn't really have to worry about it. But the tragedy is in that 30% chance if he doesn't gain the 7 key. That's where it can get a little bit rough, but majority of the time he's going to be able to get it. Vast majority of the time, I should say, he's going to be able to get it, and so that's why I do in fact put him in that particular tier, the Grand Priest tier. I do think he deserves to be there. Next up, who I think deserves to be there is this LR King Cold and Mecha Frieza, Wicked Bloodline lead. They lower attack on 12 key. They raise extreme class allies attack by 30% for 2 turns. So that's very, very good on their 18 key. And they give themselves 66% attack and defense just off rip, plus an additional 20% attack for every Wicked Bloodline ally on the team, up to an additional 60. And they give themselves 9 key if they're facing a Super Saiyan, which is good. Now, that boost from their passive, if they're on a full Wicked Bloodline team, is 126% attack. And they'll be sitting at 9 key, right? The problem is that they're just sitting on that 66% defense as well. So it's not a lot. So they have some links in there that will be able to benefit them defensively. Not a whole lot. So that's why I'm not putting them in the Zeno tier, though I want to, because they're very, very, very strong, because they do a whole lot, but because of that lack of defense, I do have to rope them into the Grand Priest tier. Next up, we are putting the boy LR Demon King Piccolo. Demon King Piccolo is such a tough character, by the way. I do have to say that. He's very, very cool. And the transformation effect is very awesome. Finally, we got a Demon King Piccolo LR in the game. I do think he deserves it. Anyway, he's a terrifying conqueror, 120% lead, which is great. His 12 key raises defense for that one turn, and then his 18 key greatly raises defense, which is good. So it's either a 30% increase or a 50% increase, right? Which is solid. So his passive skill, he's going to gain 6,000 attack for every tech orb he gets. He also reduces damage by 50% when he gets 5 or more orbs. And then he randomly changes orbs of a certain type, which I explained that before, to tech. So that ain't bad either, right? That's pretty good. 50% damage reduction, gaining attack. He's raising defense on his super attack. Like, all around, pretty darn good. So I do think that his transformation requirement is very limited, because you either have to wait 7 turns, which I think is like the longest that they've ever had for a transformation requirement, or you have to be facing a Dragon Ball Saga World Tournament or Dragon Ball Seeker enemy. And there's really not a whole lot of those, right? Now, when he transforms, he's insane, right? His 12 key, he's raising attack and defense. His 18 key, he's greatly raising attack and defense. He's now giving himself 6,666 attack per orb. He's reducing damage by 66% for 5 turns. He's reducing damage by 50% with 5 or more orbs after that runs out, that 66% runs out. And then he's also still randomly changing orbs. So he becomes very strong in this form, but again, it's not going to happen a whole lot, but when it does, it's very, very good. And even then, in his normal form, he's still very strong and 100% deserves to be in the Grand Priest tier. So next up is Little Gohan. Went from being like the worst Extreme Z Awaken, or the worst LR, one of the worst LRs in the game at least, to one of the best. So his Extreme Z Awakening has been a fantastic glow up. He's an all types lead, 120%, so he's great for Ultimate Clash. His 12 key has a 30% chance of stun. His 18 key greatly raises attack and defense, which is fantastic. His passive skill, 2 keys, 77% attack and defense. Then he gives himself an additional 7 key and 58% attack, and disables enemies' guard if your HP is 58% or less. But even still, that's like, good lord, right? That's insane. And then if he's got Goku attacking in the same turn, then he's reducing his damage by 58%. So that is very, very wild, very strong. His links are pretty good. You know, well, his links are okay for like kid type units, right? Innocent, All in the Family, Saiyan Lineage, Z Fighters, Saiyan Warrior Race, Legendary Power, and Berserker, which is a garbage link. But all in all, he's very strong, very, very good. Good leader skill, good super attack, good passive. Definitely deserves a spot in the Grand Priest tier. Another homie who deserves a spot in the Grand Priest tier, we gotta go with LR Metal Cooler. This dude's fantastic. 12 key, greatly lowering defense. That's a 50% defense reduction for 3 turns. His 18 key raises extreme class allies by 30% for 1 turn. You guys know how I feel about that already. The more HP remaining, he gains more stats. So he's just like the Oob, right? Case in fact is very similar, because he gives himself 90% attack and defense the more HP he has. And then he's got a 50% chance to launch 2 additional attacks. Each of them has a chance to become a super attack. Each of them has a chance to become a super attack. That is a 10% chance, so it's not a whole hell of a lot, but even still. His links are God tier for cooler type characters, auto regeneration, which is great for other metal coolers, shocking speed, nightmare, strongest clan in space, big bad bosses, fear and faith, and legendary power. And again, he's metal cooler army, so he can be linked up to other metal coolers or just any other cooler in existence, or any other Frieza for that matter, because he links up so well. So he's a fantastic card, and I love running that dude. I actually have to finish up his links, get them bad boys up to level 10, man. What am I doing? I'm sleeping on it. Guy I'm not sleeping on, though, is the boy Goku Black Guarino. What is it? It's really like Zamasu Goku Black, I guess. Zamasu Goku. He's super solid, dude. I don't know why some people were underrating him when he first came out. And when he got his EZA, he's very, very strong. He's a time traveler, 100% lead. 12 key lowers attack and defense. 18 key raises attack and defense. Starts off with 59% attack and defense. Every time he takes a hit, he gains 1 key up to 6. He launches an additional attack guaranteed. It's got a 30% chance or 25% chance of becoming a super attack. And that's only when he's facing 2 or more enemies. But every time he kills someone, he gains an additional attack and defense 20% up to 59%. So he can be, after defeating 3 enemies, at 152, almost 153% attack and defense. For a free-to-play LR, that's actually pretty wild. And the main reason why he's up here is because his links are god tier. Godly power, all right? So with almost every realm of god he's going to have 15% attack and 5% crit. Cold Judgment, that's 25% defense. Nightmare, 15% attack. Dismal Future, 2 key and another 5% crit. So now he's at 10% crit. Fear and Faith, 2 key, right? Enemies debuffed by 10% defense. Shattering the Limit, 2 key, 25 or 5% attack and defense, and then Legendary Power, 15% when he launches a super attack. So he's going to be able to hit hard. He's going to have good defense. He's going to be linking with everybody and their brother and sister, and you know, and he looks cool. So like, it's just everything wrapped up in one. He's a fantastic, fantastic card. I'm a huge fan of the LR Goku Black and Zamasu. Now let's head up to the Zeno tier. And first off, we have the boy. We got the boy, Vegito. Strain Vegito, still an absolute mother. This guy's still unbelievable, okay? His 12 key, he stacks attack and defense by 20%. His 18 key, he's greatly raising his attack by 50%. And then his passive skill, 80% attack and defense. And then the less HP you have, the more he gives his key. The more he gives himself in key. So he starts off at 2 key. He drops to 80%. He's at 4 key. Drops to 60%. He's at 6 key. Drops to 6 key. At 40%, under 40% HP, he's at 8 key. And then under 20%, he's at 10 key. So this dude is unbelievably powerful. He can get to insane amounts of defense, insane amounts of attack during longer events. He's one of the best units in the game to bring on longer events. His link skill is godly as well. Super Saiyan, Warrior Gods, Prepare for Battle, Power Bestowed by God, Fuse Fighter, Shattering the Limit, and Legendary Power. So the Zamasu is amazing for Realm of God's Extreme team, and this Strength Vegito is amazing for Realm of God's Super team. So he's just unbelievable. And another unit, the last unit that we're going to look at today, that's also unbelievable. And he will be here very, very soon. Very, very soon. Is the LR Prime Battle Goku in the Zeno tier. We will experience his power Christmas Eve. I believe it's Christmas Eve that we're going to have that, the 24th. This guy's awesome. His 12 keys, greatly raising his attack and defense. That's his 12 key. He's giving himself 50% attack and defense, okay? His 18 key, all allies gain 30% attack. I love that already. And 10% crit. What? That's wild, dude. 59% attack and defense. If he's the first attacker, 3 key and another 59% defense, which is fantastic. So that's going to be just added together, right? So he's going to be at what? 118% defense. And if he's doing an ultra super attack, on top of that 30% attack, he's going to gain an additional 59% attack. He's going to gain an additional 59% attack. So just that alone, right? He's going to be at 152.81% attack. And then he's putting another 30% attack on top of that, which is wild. And oh, by the way, if you're facing extreme class enemies, he gives all allies 3 key. So he's going to hit insanely strong. If you're facing extreme allies or extreme enemies, he's a support for 3 key. His 18 key is a support. It's 30% attack for everybody plus 10% crit. I mean, what does this guy does everything. He does everything. And then his links are great too. Golden Warrior, Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, The First Awakened, Family Ties is bad, but Legendary Power. First Awakened alone, 25% attack, 10% defense? What? So he's going to do ungodly amounts of damage. He's going to be able to defend very well because he's going to be over 100% defense. And he's going to be giving crit. And if you're facing extreme enemies, he's going to be giving ki as well. So he's just a spectacular unit. But this is my list. Let me know if you would do any changes to this list. Move characters up, move characters down. Let me know your reasoning behind it. And while you're typing away furiously in the comments section, don't forget to move right above it. Gently rub that sub button. Gingerly ring that bell button. Lovingly kiss the like button. As always, this is Periodik. See y'all in the next video.